All right, should we talk about the main event?
I think that's what everyone wants to hear. That was the biggest match on the show going into it.
Well, it wasn't for me, but going in, Kingston and Punk was the biggest one for me, but MJF and Darby was interesting and a pleasant surprise, and Miro was a shock, but I got to say that, hold on, where's my... since we got Stat Hero on, I got the statistics on this. I rated everything. The best match was MJF. The best match was MJF and Darby. The best fight was Punk and Kingston. The second best match was Miro and Danielson. There were American Top Team in the Dinner Circle and the Goofs against the Jurassics weren't matches, so we can't count that. And I won't penalize the girls by rating them because I didn't watch it. But shockingly enough, think about what I'm saying here. Have I ever said this before? The match involving Twinkle Toes McFingerbang was the third best match and fourth best event on the entire program.
Wow, that's almost a compliment.
Because we had a best fight. Almost? What are you talking about? That is the best. That's the highest I've ever ranked Twinkle Toes. This wasn't bad. It would have been much better with Paige and almost anybody else, but it wasn't bad. They seemed most of the time to actually be serious, which was amazing for Harpo Fingerfuck. But, Adam Page is a great babyface. He sells, he's got fire, he's got athleticism. He can speak, as we heard, when he's given something to say and the opportunity, and he sounds like he means it. He's a great babyface. As I've said, what has put me off my feed on Adam Page was the ridiculous way that they've presented him for the past year and a half. First having to be the team with Twinkle Toes, and then the sad drunk and the moroseness and the problem and the palling around with the job guys and everything. Imagine the people love him. Imagine where he'd be if he'd actually been associating with main event people and doing shit that made sense and not failing at everything for all this time. But this is what they wanted to see. I thought at first they would be crazy now that originally it would have been great to me if Paige had beaten Twinkle Toes for the title and ended his reign. Then I saw the booking, and then I see Danielson and Punk come in. I said, well, it'd be crazy to beat Twinkle Toes now when they've got these stars that can be utilized. But at the same time, after I see this, I go, you know what? These people don't care whether anything makes sense, so at least Twinkle Toes will no longer be the champion.
That's not the way to look at it.
Well, that's the way I'm looking at it. At least if we get him out of the title picture, then Paige versus, and again, it's all baby faces, so it doesn't make any sense. But Paige versus Punk, Paige versus Danielson, Paige versus Lethal, Paige versus Cole, Paige versus a variety of people will be a lot better than if you stuck Harpo in there with any of those people. So since it doesn't really matter who the champion is, because these people are going to eat whatever you feed them, at least we don't have to look at Twinkle Toes in the title matches. And they don't do rematches, so we don't have to see this one again. We certainly never got to see FTR and the Bucks again.
On that topic, real quick, it really makes me think about Omega and Danielson. Because we all thought that one match, which went to a 30-minute draw, would have been to set up a rematch. For the title, we thought. but who knows? Well,
they decided to do this because they decided they were going to do it 2 years ago, and they're still going to do it regardless of what has changed. And I'm not saying Adam Page doesn't deserve to be the champion. I like Adam Page. That's why I've been indignant at the stupid things they've had Adam Page do and say for the past I don't know how long. Because I like him. Certainly like him a lot better than Twinkle Toes. But it just, trying to figure out what they're doing. Anyway, and here's another thing. At least they wanted to see Page win, so they were reacting to Twinkle Toes like he was a heel for once, because normally he gets cheered most like everybody else. But they were even, was it fuck Kenny, fuck Omega? What was the chant that was going? It was fuck somebody or fuck something. I can't remember what the name was. Fuck Kenny, fuck Omega, fuck Twinkle Toes, fuck whatever.
It wasn't fuck Twinkle Toes. I know that. That's a tough thing to chant, quite frankly.
Well, fuck Twinkle Toes, fuck Twinkle.
Yeah, you can't do it.
It doesn't really work, but here's the thing. Brian, is it an accurate statement to say that the fans of AEW are the ones above all else that know that this is all a work, and they probably really like all these people? And we mentioned that MJF went out in the crowd the other night on TV. Nobody took a shot at him. So nobody has any heat whatsoever where the fans want to physically attack them, right?
Nobody has heat where the fans want to physically attack them. There are guys that have heat where the fans don't want to see them, where the fans decide they don't want to see them. But that's a completely different thing.
But nobody has heat where the fans want to attack them right now.
No.
In the 70s and 80s, we couldn't even make a list now. We don't have time of the list of heels in wrestling that the fans would have willingly and did attempt and succeed sometimes in attacking physically, right?
Yeah.
So how come in the 70s and 80s, when guys had killing heat that people wanted to knife them and cut them and stab them, and they cut their tires on their car and whatever else, they still never chanted, fuck so-and-so? But now the people in unison, 10,000 people in an arena, are chanting, fuck this guy, when they know it's bullshit and they don't even really dislike him. Does that make any sense? Could it be that maybe people back then just had the common courtesy not to say fuck in unison out loud in an arena with children around? They preferred to say it privately, such as from row 3, section 4, fuck you, like that, but not chanting it in the building. I just found that hilarious. They had people they wanted to fucking kill, but they would edit their language. But now they would be friends with these people, but they still will chant fuck them at the top of their lungs. What's happened to society?
It doesn't make any sense. People wanted to stab wrestlers, and the security barrier was a rope.
Yes.
And now nobody wants to get up from their chair except to clap, and there's a giant barricade.
It's like getting across the Berlin Wall, and all they want to do is pat people on the back. People were bringing guns to the matches. They shot at Bobby Heenan. They've drawn knives at people, and we had a fucking clothesline to keep that angry mob back. It makes perfect sense. Anyway, Paige is great. I just don't. I've got to be honest. I try to watch these all the time, like, okay, putting personal feelings aside, I'll forget he wrestled the sex toy. I'll forget he wrestled the 9-year-old girl. I'll forget about all the times he's worn, genie costumes and stuck his fingers up people's asses and engaged in all this comedy bullshit. And I'll just watch him as a wrestler. It doesn't work because I don't like his movements. I don't like his facials. I don't like his wrestling style. I don't like his mannerisms. I don't like his body language. It all is off-putting to me. And I don't like it the way he puts his matches together because they always seem so much longer than they really are. MJF and Darby flew by. It was same length as this. Part of it is he just does a video game match. It doesn't make sense. It's people hitting each other, and I'll hit you for a while, and then you hit me for a while, and blah, blah, blah. And finally, they did a referee bump. I thought Tony Khan says we don't do referee bumps. So Twinkle Toes pulls the referee into the buckshot lariat, and that gives Don Fallis a chance to come in with the title belt. But Paige got him and bumped him. Twinkle Toes got the belt, swing and a miss. Paige hits the dead eye. Referee Aubrey, the second ref, comes in, 1-2, kick out. And then Aubrey goes out to check on the first referee, and they try to trade, and Twinkle Toes can't throw a punch to save his life. And it was basically some more back and forth. It's, in turn, we'll do moves to each other, and the people will pop on them because, they look good. And then here comes the Young Bucks. And they walk down to ringside. Page hits the one-winged fairy on Twinkle Toes, so he gets his own move on Twinkle Toes. 2 count. And then Page hits the buckshot lariat. And boom, and Twinkle Toes is staggering. And he goes to the other side, and he goes for another one, but there's Pieface Buck. And he and Pieface stare at each other, and Pieface slightly nods at him and doesn't interfere, and Page does another buckshot lariat. Boom, 1, 2, 3. So, if the Bucks now turned on Twinkle Toes, are they baby faces now? Why did they come down to not do anything? Is Olivier going to be upset about this? Is this going to ruin their friendship? Are you trying to tell me that all the heels needed all this time was just the apology that Adam Page gave them the other night on TV? Oh, okay, everything's fine now.
I think the Bucks probably watched a lot of As the World Turns or General Hospital or something growing up.
Do the younger generation think like this, that they are so bereft of any guts or fucking intestinal fortitude that these wimpy, wishy-washy people that they portray themselves as wimpy and wishy-washy and we don't know what the fuck we're doing? Does that resonate with these people somehow?
I'm not exactly sure. The personalities in some way resonate with these people. That's for sure. But like you said, it was kind of like an arranged hit on Kenny Omega. The Bucks came out and the one Buck gave his nod. It's okay. Kill him. Go for it.
And there was Twinkle Toes sitting there in the barber's chair with the fucking foam on his face and the sheet over him, not knowing that Nitty's Hit Squad was coming in from behind.
Well, the Albert Anastasia of AEW lost the title to Adam Page.
Oh, and then the dork jobbers come in to lift not Bryan Danielson, not CM Punk, not Eddie Kingston, not any of the top baby faces in this company come in to celebrate lifting up Adam Page on their shoulders for toppling the reign of the evil champion. It's the dork jobbers that come in and set him up on their shoulders. And that's the last. That would be like fucking Rock beating Austin for the belt, and here comes Kai and Ty to celebrate with him.
How about that this ended up being what we joked about? The Bucks got mad at Adam Page's behavior because he started drinking, and that drove him away. Meanwhile, he found all new friends that seemed to like him just fine, if we're going to really be honest about things.
Yeah.
But once he stopped drinking, and once he came back and apologized for his behavior while drinking, then the Bucks like, you know what? Fuck Kenny. Does this mean the Bucks are going to go back to dressing normal? Like, does this change them? Did they start acting out because of falling out with Adam Page? They lost their one cowboy friend, and they just couldn't take it. So they went and started dressing like dweebs.
I think that you may have hit upon something. Oh, and I forgot about the cowboy friend. Did you enjoy Adam Page riding a horse through the streets of Minneapolis?
That was a really neat video.
It was. And did you enjoy the tumbleweed outside the Target Center?
The Dark Order were in that too, like running from one building to another. You saw that?
And yes, I didn't know who they were. I thought that's the people that were late. The doors are already open. They got to get to their seats. And they had the good, the bad, and the ugly takeoff music, and people piped in the cowboy shit chants. They even had cowboy shit on one of the flashing road signs. But how did they find a time where there was no traffic in Minneapolis to do that? I would think there'd be traffic there even 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
Right, unless you paid to shut it down so you could do a shoot.
But you notice he didn't get up a lot of speed on that horse down those city streets. He just kind of cantered in and then got off the horse.
We've never been shown any evidence that he actually can ride a horse at speed, have we?
Well, I mean, you almost have to, because I've ridden a few horses, and once they get started going, you're pretty much on the horse. If they're riding or if they're running, you can't hardly stop them unless you know what you're doing. So I don't know.
Hey, someone want to get some heat? Punch the horse. Just slug the horse. Be the greatest angle ever.
But in all fairness to him, riding those horses on the city streets is not easy because they're used to the tracks, the dirt and the grass and the wilds and the fields and things. I told you a story when Dusty tried to ride the horse into Roanoke, didn't I?
I don't know.
The Midnight Rider? Oh, fuck. We're at the Roanoke Civic Center, and the Midnight Rider has lost Dusty Rhodes has lost a loser leave town match. I think it was to the Horseman. And the Midnight Rider's coming back. What was that, 87?
88.
88 when he did the Midnight Rider in Crockett. He did it in Florida a few years earlier.
Yeah, and then Watts did it in Mid-South in 85.
Yeah, and then Watts did it. But we're at the Roanoke Civic Center, and we're doing a Crockett TV taping. And the Midnight Rider is going to ride into the arena in front of all those thousands of people on the back of this stallion, right? Because he's the Midnight Rider. Well, one of the problems was it's raining outside. And when it was raining outside, and when all the guys came in and the TV crew and they brought all the equipment in, there's a big garage door at the back of the Roanoke Civic Center. And then you come in that with all the equipment or the forklifts or whatever. And then you go up this concrete ramp that's maybe 50 feet long. And at the top of that ramp is the entranceway to the arena. And that's where they bring the monster trucks out. If they have a monster truck show or rodeo, whatever, they bring out the livestock. But the problem is, this is a wrestling show. They don't have the dirt down on the ground. They don't have the livestock. They've just got one horse. And all of the equipment that they brought up that ramp had dropped all that water because it's raining outside. And now Dusty, who in 1988 was probably clocking in between 320 and 330, gets up on this poor horse's back. And the horse, if I could have spoke horse language, he would have been saying to me, "Oh, my fucking back." And you can see the horse bending in the middle. And then the cue starts for the segment, and they're trying to get the Dusty's trying to ride the horse up that wet concrete ramp, and the horse is slipping. And it was almost, if Rene Goulet had been there, he'd be like, "The horse is down, the horse is down." That horse was almost to its knees by the time it got to the top of that ramp. And we were watching back there thinking he's going to all of them are going to fall over and roll right into the arena. And as soon as the horse got to the top of that ramp, he finally got his feet underneath him. And when Dusty came out, it looked okay. But for about 50 feet there, we were convinced that neither Dusty nor the horse was going to make it into the arena. You know, the animals, sometimes they won't work with you. Never share the screen with a kid or an animal.
Can you imagine if something would have happened to Dusty with that horse in 88 and then all these guys like Tully would have been like, "Oh my God, I love Dusty so much. I can't believe this." Everyone who was ripping on him and hating him and wanted him out of the fucking company would have been putting him over.
Lawler rode the horse into the Mid-South Coliseum for his match with Hulk Hogan in 81. And it was he had complete white tights, white singlet, white crown with the jewels on it, white boots. And he wanted a white horse, right? So when I got a horse, but this was, as I recall, it was February 9, 1981? Sounds about right, but it was in February. I was down there for the match, to shoot the match, right? The only time that Hogan came back after he'd become a star to Memphis to work with Lawler. And they brought the horse in, and apparently maybe the people with livestock backgrounds will know more about this. But in the wintertime, even a white horse, it gets like brownish, or it's not bright white. It's got colored hair on it that it gets in the wintertime. And they had to whitewash the horse. They had to paint the horse white to get a completely white horse for Lawler to ride that fucking horse out there. Can you imagine? And I've got pictures of him posed sitting on top of the horse after they painted it. Can you imagine the guy that went home that night and his wife said, "How was your day, honey?" "Well, I had to paint a horse white." Maybe it's not as funny now 40 years later.
Maybe not.
Have you ever painted a horse white?
I've never painted a horse, no. I try to stay away from horses, quite frankly.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you try to stay away from painting horses. What's the matter with horses are honorable people?
Were those your final thoughts on Omega versus Page?
Well, my final thought is, have you ever had a horse steal anything from you?
No, I have not.
Well, there you go. Yes, are we still on this? Yeah, new champion, Adam Page, the Hangman. Cowboy shit. At least Twinkle Toes don't have the belt anymore. Can we send him off on a round the world tour to go away and learn a new hold?
Well, we'll see what happens because AEW hasn't done rematches like we've said, because the Omega Danielson one was naturally set up. I've also heard that Omega's really banged up. We'll see if that means he actually takes time off, because they obviously set something up with him and the Bucks here, him and Page here. You have Cole in the mix with his guys. So the question is if he takes time off to heal up or if he's around.
And what in the world is going to happen next? We'll find out.
I think he'll work on video games. Oh, you mean
Good.
to AEW? AEW.
Right, with anybody. I don't give. If the next thing that Twinkle Toes does has nothing to do with getting in a wrestling ring where I have to watch him on television, I will support him to the fullest extent of the law.
So Danielson went to a draw with Omega, and now Danielson beat Miro to get a title shot, or to be number one contender. Was it number one contender or to get a title shot?
Well, it said to get a title shot.
So it's now Danielson and Page.
2 more baby faces.
Although Danielson's, I keep saying it, I know the fans cheer him, but they cheer everyone, except Cody and MJF, naturally. But Danielson's working like a heel, I think.
Well, I know, but how do you make him the person? When everybody know he had to retire once doing what he loved because of injuries, and then he fought to come back, and the evil empire held him down, but now he's free. You can't make that guy a fucking heel if he comes out and takes a fucking rusty dildo and sodomizes somebody with it.
Do you choose the interloper or the guy who's been here from the beginning? If you have 2 guys like that.
Well, but hopefully for them, many of the fans that are seeing that will be new fans that haven't been around because they're supposed to get some new ones with all these big names. So hope there'll be Danielson fans who are going, who's this fucking kid fighting Danielson? So you'll have, but I think back to every main event babyface wrestler that I ever knew or worked with over the past 50 years. And if you came up to them and said, yeah, I've got you some great opponents in this territory. They're all baby faces, just like you. You're going to wrestle all of them. They wouldn't even got out of their bag out of their car. They'd have turned around and fucking left. All right.
Well, coming out of that pay-per-view event, there was probably a really great transition to the next spot. However, we are very tired. We have been working a lot. We've been recording and editing and uploading and cutting and doing all sorts of things.
Cutting
video. Cutting video.
Cutting video, but you don't want to cut yourself. You want to try.
That wasn't what I meant.
You want to try to reduce as many. They're always going to happen. Those accidents where you're escaping your mans, they're always going to happen, but you want to reduce them. That's why you want the professional stuff. So here's another transition. If rather than seeing another match between Twinkle Toes and Adam Page, you'd rather shave your balls, well, now's your chance. Folks, the holidays are coming up. It's time to give thanks. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped for the Performance Package 4.0 from the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer to tame your bush. The Performance Package 4.0, which has everything you're going to need to make everything slick and smooth and shiny and shaved and smelly good. If your holiday spread is smelly good, they got smelly good stuff too.
Smelly good?
Smelly good. If you think your holiday spread is good, well, you ought to spread your legs and stick some Manscaped up in there, folks. The Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to be all the things I talked about, smooth and slick and smelly good. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer to chop up the worst weeds in your nose and your ear. Or if, like some people, you have 2 of them, your ears. There's no S on the top here. This nose and ear hair trimmer, or ears hair trimmer.
They're not English majors. They're working on all these things like the lawnmower.
They're working on pubic hair. It uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system to provide proprietary performance.
You're not an English major either.
In safe technology. You can't forget the Manscaped's liquid formulations. They're like the pumpkin pie and ice cream after Thanksgiving dinner. You can't live without it, and sometimes it makes you shit. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Crop Reviver Toner Spray will have your balls living in turkey heaven, folks. And for the gifters out there, Manscaped is here to seal the deal with 2 free gifts from the Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. That you can put your boxers and your balls right in a bag and take off. You can have that way. You can have the little fellas with you anywhere you want them.
What?
Yeah, we always need an extra coin purse for your little fellows. Gifting Manscaped products, you can become the family favorite. And they've also been busy. Well, that's right. Think of it. Think of this. Let's say
I am thinking about it. That's what makes it funny.
Let's say you give your father-in-law the Performance Package 4.0, and he shaves his balls, and his dick smells good for the first time since the Eisenhower administration, and your mother-in-law is going to come and give you the wink and go, hey, because now I don't have any hairs between my teeth like I usually do.
Oh, what are you... This should not Christmas. Be part... What are you talking about? Let's just
Christmas time. It's Christmas time. She's going to give one a year. It's going to be at Christmas. Anyway.
Well, it could be the birthday, but listen, besides the point, the weed whacker is really what I think the selling point will be. You don't want to think of your father-in-law's genitals. You want to think about them getting that hair out of their ears.
Well, yes, or either that or you want to stick some hair in your ears so you don't have to hear your in-laws. But whether it's ears or whether it's nose or whether it's the sphincter, and I'll tell you what, they've got a taint tamer spray. It doesn't come in the Performance Package 4.0, but that taint tamer spray, I'll tell you what, smells like a New Orleans cat house on Thursday. But anyway, they've also launched their refined body wash and 2-in-1 shampoo plus conditioner, and both of those feature the Manscaped signature scent and will help unlock your confidence this year. I can't tell you what it smells like because it's proprietary and it's signature, but it's good. It does not smell like a man eating Fremunda cheese in the septic tank of a slaughterhouse. Folks, whether you want the Performance Package 4.0 or just want to piss off your in-laws, whatever the case, go to manscaped.com/JCE to get 20% off and free shipping. 20% off and free shipping, manscaped.com/JCE. When you get 20%, and you're going to get 100% off of your nut hair and 20% off of the cost of removing it. And not everybody...
Well, we can't guarantee 100% removal of any hair, as you put it before.
Well, we can get, yes, we can guarantee if you, I mean, 100%? If you miss one or two, miss one or two.
But what is cutting it? What is removing it? Is it just slicing it, or is it pulling it out from the root? That's removal.
No, for heaven's sake, don't say slicing or pulling out, because it's not slicing, it's trimming, and it's not pulling it out because these blades are nice and sharp, except they reduce nicks and snags and tucks and tugs, but they are still sharp enough to cut those pubic hairs, because not everybody is lucky like Hotchkiss Featherbottom and has had that early onset male pubic baldness going on where they don't have to shave their crotch. But anyway,
Manscaped.com.
Manscaped.com/JCE, 20% off and free shipping. We love the folks at Manscaped, and that Performance Package, especially the Lawnmower 4.0. I love the LED light.
You see, it shouldn't be /JCE. It should be trim JCE.
Well, they can't put it in there.
To demonstrate how safe the product is.
In the computer speak, there's no signal or no little icon or whatever for trim. It's /.
There's no icon for trim?
Manscaped.com, little slanted line, JCE.
All right, well, let's...
a little slanted line.
Let's get away from the trim and let's get to a question or two.
Yeah, last thing we want is be around any trim.